James Herbert Krieger was born on November 29, 1931, in Cleveland, Ohio. He was an only child, adored by his father, Herb Krieger, and his mother, Irene Rembold Krieger. The golden-haired toddler had an idyllic, all-American childhood full of adventure and imagination. As an active little boy, Jimmy loved swimming and horseback riding and playing in the snow. He was sweet-natured, but pictures show his mischievous side, often with a twinkle in his eye. Jimmy once organized a museum in the basement to raise money for charity. He was a gifted student who loved to read. When Jimmy was 12, tragedy struck, and he lost his mother to cancer. He later developed a strong bond with his stepmother, Stella Qualiato Krieger, known as Set. And Set brought him into her large Italian family, which included his cousin Jeanne.
Well, Jimmy was like a brother to me. He ended up with 3 mothers, as I did. Auntie Ada, Aunt Set, my mom, Jimmy, and I. And those 5 did things together, so we had a lot of fun that way.
Herb made sure Jimmy kept in touch with his mother's side of the family as well.
And he would write the cutest letters to my father. And he tells about what's going on in his life as a child, 10, 11 years old probably. And he told my dad about a harvest festival where he won a ribbon. He was excited about a doubleheader baseball game to watch Cleveland play Chicago. Uncle Herb probably took him. I do remember he was good looking. And my cousin Christine and I were little girls, and we would get together and run through the living room and give him a kiss, and then we'd run out the other door and giggle some more and run back in and do it again because he was so good looking.
Jimmy sang in the choir and graduated from John Marshall High School in 1950. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering in 1953 from Case Institute of Technology, now called Case Western Reserve University. Jim then took a job at the Portsmouth Gaseous Diffusion Plant in Portsmouth, Ohio, where he trained men on how to operate the plant. His draft deferment ran out, so he spent 2 years in the Navy, editing a training manual for people who were expected to serve on atomic-powered submarines. He was honorably discharged in November 1965. Jim spent the next 5 decades as a journalist at Chemical and Engineering News, the weekly news magazine published by the American Chemical Society. He started in the Chicago Bureau, but soon moved to Washington, D.C., his adopted hometown, for the rest of his life.
We were colleagues for all those years, several decades. Sometimes Jim was a writer and sometimes he was an editor. Our organization had a large meeting in different cities every 6 months. And so the 2 of us often ate dinners in these cities that we traveled to. Jim was enthusiastic, very even-handed, very intelligent, and he did a very good job in what he did.
Jim often traveled back to Cleveland to see Ada and Set, and he made regular trips to Colorado and then California to spend time with Jeanne's family.
He never had any children of his own, but my 3 kids were as important to him as if they were his own. Every single thing that the kids did, Jimmy went to.
I would describe him as one of the most important people in our family. He was always there. He was a constant presence in our life.
Over the years, Jim traveled the world. He even rode an elephant in Sri Lanka and loved to tell the family all about his latest adventure.
I mean, he was a very influential part of my life. I would say he exposed me to opera, art, travel, good food, interesting stories from around the world.
Later in life, he met Judy Agard, who became his constant companion for 22 years.
He was a great guy, and we had so many things we liked together. We went to the theater together, we went to the symphony together. He convinced me to join this group of opera fans who traveled around to different operas in different cities, and we had the same interests, and so we would read the same books and read each other back and forth articles from the paper.
Judy bought the house next door, and they enjoyed retirement together.
He was a good man and funny and interesting and willing to go places and do things. He was really loyal and supportive and interested in me and my family. I really appreciate his integrity, and he just had such a wide range of interests and so much knowledge. It was just fun to talk to him.
He was very smart. He was very funny. When he got started on a story, it took a while.
Yeah, and he had a lot of stories to tell, and he loved telling them. He was also a great photographer, and he was getting involved in computer graphics. And so he made his own Christmas cards and pieces of art. He just loved doing that. He would do that for hours at the computer, and the designs were beautiful.
Jim and Judy spent a lot of time visiting with her kids and grandkids who loved Jim like family.
Appreciate Jim took time out for him to travel, to be at events with the Agards and the Andrews, traveling to Vermont in particular.
Pounding the fist and arguing about politics or cheering on the Nats, it was always fun. Those are things that bring a smile to my face when I think of him.
We were never in a hurry. He was relaxed and could always stay longer, have another drink, talk some more.
Jim Krieger passed away from heart failure in August 2020, having lived a life well spent, leaving friends and family with wonderful memories.
He was the last of that generation. He represents as a connection to a different time. With Jim's passing, it's really like an end of that era for all of us.